Bison. So in all the fighting game redesigns I've done so far, this is actually my first Street Fighter redesign. I'm actually kind of amazed that it took me this long to do one, but because most Street Fighter 6 outfits are redesigns in and of themselves, from a franchise that really does maintain the exact same looks for their characters like all the time, it never even crossed my mind to do redesigns for Street Fighter characters at all. Like, it'd be asinine to do like a Ryu or a Ken redesign at this point, considering that they just got redesigns in Street Fighter 6. But there are characters missing, and more specifically, there's a glaring character missing. And for all intents and purposes, I do not believe that Bison's dead. Obviously, he's been killed numerous times in the Street Fighter franchise, and he just transplants his soul into somebody else's body. So that's pretty much what I'm expecting here. Just whose body is he going to take this time? Who knows? Rose isn't around so far. That being said, though, a redesign from Bison, the second it was suggested to me, my mind started racing. And I knew that I wanted to do a Bison design that's very much unlike the traditional borderline military outfit with the hat that he normally has, pretty much since his inception in Street Fighter 2. And I wanted something to make it seem like almost he had taken form in a new body, but either he's not acclimated to the body yet, or the transfer of him into the new body didn't necessarily go as planned. Not that necessarily it looks wrong or anything, just that there's damages to him already. At least that was my initial thought, but we'll see what happens when I actually design this outfit once I get going, starting now.
You killed my parents! You killed my...
Yes, I killed your father. I killed my father too, and you don't hear me whining about it.
Okay, first off, I didn't want Bison to have a cape this time. I don't know why, but menacing evil dictator Bison I felt like would be much better if he had a scarf. I don't know, a scarf just seems douchey and more evil to me, so I really wanted to give him that for a design, or as part of his design. I also wanted Bison in more of an actual suit. I don't know why, but in my mind, I'm sort of piecing things together like somehow JP is the one who taught Bison to use psycho power, or he's outright gonna steal JP's body from him. Either or, I wanted Bison to look slightly regular with more exaggerated accessories. So after getting a very typical Bison pose down, I started sketching in the details. I initially gave him his goofy hat. I put the scarf on him and the suit with the high collar, just because once again it just screams evil to me. And the parts where I sort of really went nuts with Bison was his boots, and I added a little, I guess, ridiculous shoulder pad. And because it's Bison, it is a winged skull shoulder pad. Why you would have that, I have no idea, but once again, it looks evil and it's Bison. I also put hand wraps entirely on one of his arms. Once again, I've also been doing way too many Mortal Kombat redesigns lately, but then it almost makes you question what in the hell has happened to his hands, or what's going on to where Bison has one hand normal and the other one is completely wrapped. Like, how damaged is he? This also gave me the idea to add extra scars and whatnot to Bison's face, just to make him look a little more haggard. Now, when I initially started doing the coloring phase, and I did plan at the start to have Bison purple instead of red with this outfit, sort of have a piece of the traditional red Bison outfit underneath this suit with sort of the red shirt that he has under it. But I still wanted him to look kind of different while having certain Bison-isms, which would make you recognize him pretty quickly. Somewhat. How do I put this? Familiar and unrecognizable at the same time. Like, I almost wanted you to double take and then go, is that Bison? Just to question it a bit. Because I feel like just that same Bison look for almost 30 years at this point is crazy. So, in beginning the coloring phase of his design, I actually went back and got rid of the hat, and I changed that to actually showing the top of his head being exposed. I thought about making him bald, but I went, wait, that's way too far. And we already have Dalsim and Sagat. We don't need any more bald people running around in Street Fighter at the moment. And there's probably others that I'm just not thinking about off the top of my head. So I took the hat off of him, and then I chose to make the actual boots and the shoulder pads gold this time as opposed to leaving them silver. Once again, changing it as much as I possibly could was one of my focuses with this Bison design. And then I went back and added extra detail to the scarf, I figured an extra skull design on the scarf would help as many of those as humanly possible. Just because of Shadaloo, it would help Bison a lot. Also, quick sidebar, if you like the video so far, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Now getting back, from there was shading detail, which was actually way simpler in this design than it is for most. Because of the crazy pose that Bison's in, it makes it very easy to understand where I need to place the shadows at and where the light sources are sort of coming from. So shading was absolutely simple in this design. And then once I added the highlights to it, especially to like the metal pieces of like his shoulder pad and the gauntlet, or the glove rather, it's not really a gauntlet, and the boots, it stood out a lot more. Those objects weren't really shining, or of course they weren't shining, but they weren't standing out as much when I initially colored and shaded it, but it looked way better once I finally added the highlights to it. Also, adding the highlights somehow made Bison look even more maniacal. I don't really know why that is, but I mean, it's just how he began to look over time once I finished it. And after adding the specular highlights at the end, he was pretty much done. And here I had a brand new Street Fighter 6 level redesign for General Bison. And I like it a lot. I like it a lot more than Bison's normal design, simply because I've just been seeing it for so long. It's always been amazing to me how just about every fighting game series gets ripped apart for the character evolutions that the designs take over time, but somehow no one says anything about the fact that Street Fighters have barely changed over the course of 30 years. Street Fighter 6 may have the most radically different designs for each character that has ever taken place. So if by somehow we got a Bison down the line, or at least a Gil, I would love to see what those redesigns would look like, and I hope it would look something like this. So as usual, let me know what you think below, whether or not you like the design or not, and you all have a good one, and I'm out.
I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.